The first thing I want to do is I want to introduce a new member, Raj Makanam. Raj is from Minturn, originally hails from Malaysia. Just quickly, I met Raj in a photo class, and I don't know anyone that puts as much energy as he does into his photos. So I just want to welcome him to the club. The other bit of housekeeping is I want to go over something that an email was sent out the other day about our mentoring meetings, of which we are going to have 3 a year. We'll have them on the 5th Wednesday. The first one is March, then June and September. The first one is, like I said, March 31st. It's going to be similar to our, in the past, the in-person critique sessions, but with the added ability to do some light editing in Lightroom. Members will submit images for the mentoring meeting using the same form on the website that we always use. You just need to select critique only under the competition level and select March for the month. The deadline for the mentoring meeting for the one coming up in March is Monday the 29th. You submit the JPEG files the same as the competition, a limit of 2 images per person. And during the Zoom session, there'll be screen sharing. And the meeting is for everyone. So even if you're not involved, the members can certainly attend and lend their expertise. And if an individual has questions, I guess those you have to, I've never done it, but if an individual has questions, they can just hit the reply and the reply button, I guess, and ask questions. So anyway, I wanted to go over that, and everybody should have gotten an email on that already. Tonight's competition is in the neighborhood. The category is new. It was Cliff's idea. I thought a good one. It's a quasi-open category due to COVID. And in the neighborhood means any image captured in your general neighborhood. Perhaps it's within walking distance of your home. The subject could be something you find in your backyard or in your window or your local bakery. Looking for something unique or overlook details or take an uncommon perspective of something that's commonplace. Perhaps it's a subject that you walk or drive by every day. The goal was to get creative as close to home as possible. This evening's judge is Tom Loucks. Tom's been a longstanding amateur photographer and in recent years has had more time to devote to his hobby. He garnered first place in the National Audubon's 2004 Nature's Odyssey contest and has placed well in competitions by Nature's Best, Share the View, and the Merrimack Valley's George W. Bunny Nature Contest. He has 2 images of alumni adventurers on permanent display at Dartmouth College, and he's the current president of Mile High Wildlife Photography Club. His photographic interests are nature, primarily landscape wildlife, and travel photography, though his favorite subjects are alpine landscapes. Recently retired, Tom is looking forward to spending more time in photography and other outdoor activities. He works as a volunteer with the Denver Audubon. He served as a photographer in field trips and co-teaches 2 courses in a naturalist program. So, Tom, do you have anything that you would like to add or impart to the membership? Oh, I hope we did not lose him.
Tom, I think you're muted.
You have to unmute yourself there, Tom.
There we go. All right. Thanks, Butch. I'm going to make the usual disclaimer. Judging is subjective, and I'm really apprehensive about what you guys might have found in your neighborhood. I'm going to do my best to critique objectively, and my approach will surely differ from someone else's. I know that. I've worked with a number of clubs and under different scoring systems. I'm going to try to do my best to critique the quality of the image without assigning any component of the score from my own personal likes or dislikes. I will say, when I started submitting my own images to critique sessions and competitions, the hardest thing for me was to learn that, whatever nostalgic or sentimental value the picture might have had for me, that's got nothing to do with how it stacks up as a photograph. So I'm going to be looking for impact, composition, technical excellence, and I'll try to stay away from attributes such as how rare is the subject or how hard is it to acquire the capture. And Butch has also advised me score each image on its own and on a standalone basis. So with that, I'm ready, Butch, when you are.
Okay. And Tom, tonight, actually, everybody, we have 45 images this evening. We have 7 in the F5.6 category, 5 in the F8s. We have 14 images in the F11. And as usual, we have more images. We have 19 in F16. As has become the practice, we're going to begin with black and white images first and then follow with the color. After each category, after the judging, those with a score of 10 can say a few words about the image, any special techniques or other information that might be helpful or beneficial to the membership. And if there is nothing else, Tom, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, our first image is witness marks.
Okay. I'm wondering which came first, the beast or the human. We've got a collage of footprints here in the snow. I like the light. I like the surrounding light around, I guess, the two principal footprints. I guess it's a dog and a boot. The composition looks good. The picture is sharp. I like the vignette around the edges. I guess I'll give that a 10.
Thank you. Our next image is it came from the Parks and Rec world.
Okay, I'm guessing that's that house on Lookout Mountain. That's a spectacular angle I've never seen before. I think the bushes in the foreground are distracting, but that's how you got the angle of the shot. The sun muted above the building draws my eye right to that. So that's a little bit of disturbance. I think I would have maybe cloned that out. I don't know if you're allowed to do that in your rules. Okay, the picture just came and went. There, it's back again. And the bushes on the left that lead up into the sky are a little bit distracting. So I guess I'm going to give this an 8. I think the distracting bushes and the sun that grabs my attention are some of the flaws that make me give it an 8.
Our next image is Denver Noir. I hope I pronounced that properly.
Okay, it's a pleasing image of the skyline. I think there's an awful lot of gray, empty sky above the silhouettes of the buildings. I like the reflection in the water. I'm not sure that the shoreline is horizontal, but of course it could be receding. So in real life, it may not have been horizontal, but in the photograph, it looks like it's slightly off horizontal. I think I might have cropped this horizontally or made more of a panoramic shot out of the image. Otherwise, it's very nice and sharp. I guess because of all the empty gray sky above the skyline, I'm going to give this an 8.
Our next image is light speed.
Okay, this image certainly has a lot of impact. I like the way you can read the sign, yet the train or light rail or whatever it is blurred. I think that's really attractive. I like the colors. the image is technically good. It's in focus close up where it needs to be. Composition is outstanding. I like the lines taking me right back into the center of the picture where it looks like all the action is. Let me give this a 10.
Our next image is 3 berries.
Three berries. The subject's obviously the berries. I like the berries. They're in focus. The leaves are out of focus. I think there's an awful lot of green space at the top of the image, which takes up a lot of real estate. I'm not sure it's necessary. So I might have cropped some of that out. And I don't know if it's a dead berry or what it is. The blue thing in the middle left of the picture I find very distracting, and the yellow leaves are kind of bright. I'm going to give that an 8.
Our next image is COVID nightmare.
No,
No,
it's switched around.
Okay,
Who
what
are
is
you?
this one? What is this?
Who are you?
Who are you? Okay.
well, that picture's not from my neighborhood, I can tell you. Yeah, I like the deer. The eyes and nose are in focus. Much of the rest of it is not. The top of the nose seems, maybe the highlights are a little bright. I wish more of the head had been in focus. I guess I'll give that a 9. I'm concerned that a lot of the parts of the animal's head that I'd like to see in focus are not in focus.
That was, unless I'm missing something, that was it for the.
No, there's another one.
Oh, there is?
You got switched around. Next one is my COVID nightmare.
Oh, this is COVID nightmare. Okay, got it.
Okay. Well, this picture is really busy. It's certainly tack sharp. I'm trying to think. My eye is drawn to the tide sign, whereas I think most of the message about the picture is all about COVID. I suppose tide has to do with keeping clean. I guess I'm not sure where my eye is supposed to go, but I do like the image, and it's certainly got a lot of impact. I'll give this a 10.
You said a 10 on
10.
that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we have, looks like we have 3 10s. So we have witness marks. Dominic Aducci, any words?
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of lucky. I live around Sloan's Lake, so there's a lot of things interesting around for me to shoot, but I was kind of going for something maybe that I wouldn't normally shoot. I just happened to notice these footprints in the snow, the dog, the human, and the remnants of what I think was a goose. So yeah, thanks for the comments and the insight.
Our next 10 was Lightspeed. William Williams.
Yeah, that's basically the Littleton Light Rail Station. We were down taking night pictures in downtown Littleton, and I glanced over at the station. It looked bright. The chains were just coming in and out, and I thought, you know, what a time exposure down there would be kind of nice, and that's what I came up with.
Nice. Okay, and our third 10 was COVID nightmare.
Well, you said it was complex. Nightmares are always complex. This was the front window of a cleaning store. And obviously Tide cleaners had to do with the whole concept of wiping down and all the rest of the disinfecting. I collected a series of masks. The 4 mug shots are each of the CDC approved masks for use in COVID, and you will see the virus particles floating everywhere else, despite the masks. So it's a nightmare, but it's life.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the F8s. And our first image is Shadow Shadow.
Well, the image is certainly tack sharp. The leading lines from the fence and the shadows of the trees, I guess, take me right back into the back center of the picture, about a third of the way from the top. I love the way my eye is brought to the central point for focus. The image has a lot of detail. All the lines of the fence are in focus, the house and back's in focus, the conifers in focus, the grass is all in focus. It's technically it's pretty incredible and almost overwhelming. I give this a 10.
Next image is Dog Nose.
Well, I like the image. It's a strong black and white image, but I think the nose poking through the crack and highlighted by the sun is well, it's a little different, and the shape is in sharp contrast to the hinge up above it. I think that's kind of fascinating. I think the highlights are blown out on the nose of the dog as they are on the hinge. And I think the composition is good, but my eye bounces back and forth between the bright bottom half of the hinge and the dog's nose, and the highlights on the wood to the left of the nose. And as I view the image, I'm going to give this a 9.
Our next image is Reflection Denver Tech Center.
Okay, I think I wish the verticals were vertical. I think in any landscape type image, verticals have to be vertical, and I'm not sure that they are. They appear slightly canted to the left in my view. I think the highlights are blown out in the image. I can't see any detail in the floor where the window panes are shining. The composition is excellent. I love the leading lines taking me back into the picture. But I think some of the attributes I've mentioned, I'll give this an 8.
Okay, our next image is Red Rock Sunrise.
Okay, this image is blown out. I think I'm guessing that the red channel may be blown out too. The reds look really muddy, I think, in the sandstone. The clouds in the sky are blown out. I love the composition. I like the leading lines from the clouds coming down from the upper right, taking my eye right to the structure I can see in the middle of the building, in the middle of the outcrop. So actually there's 2 structures. So I love the leading lines, but I'm concerned about exposure. It's overexposed, and the red lines, the red rocks are murky. The composition is really good. I'm going to give this an 8.
Okay, our last in the F8 category is Looking Through the Wall, Denver Art Museum.
Okay, Butch, to me, the image at the center of the frame looks out of focus. Can you tell if that's in focus?
You're asking me?
Yeah, to me, I'm going to call it out of focus. Am I wrong?
I think it's less than tack sharp.
Yeah, okay. So I think the composition is good. I like the fact that in this case, the image is centered on the painting or collage or whatever it is in the center of the picture. But that image itself, the white image with the collage on top of it is soft. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay, I think that's it with the F8s. And we have 1, 10, and that's Shadow. And that's Steve Wilton, our new member. So nice job.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. It's just part of my daily routine. That's about 2 blocks from my house, and it's an annoying banshee type of dog, very small. So that was capturing the dog. You were talking about the shadow. That's also about 3 blocks from my home. It's by a school with the chain fence. I have another one that I took with that, but it didn't have the shadow inside. So I thought it was a pretty cool effect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to the F11s. Our first image is a Tim Burton ladder.
Well, it's an interesting image. It certainly has a lot of impact. I think, unfortunately, the highlights are completely blown out on the white of the ladder. The bricks in the background are out of focus. The icicles are in focus and very bright. My eye follows the line of the ladder up to the upper right at the icicles, so I'm distracted from looking at what I think is what should be the subject of the picture. And the bushes in the foreground are really messy and distracting. I'm going to give that an 8.
Our next image is morning routine.
Well, I think the composition is really good. I like how the elements of the picture take my eye around from the milk pouring into the cup, or the half and half pouring into the cup, down to the banana, back up to the half and half, back to the cup. I really enjoy that. That's excellent. I think I wish more of the image were in focus. Principally, all that's in focus is the half and half pouring right into the top of the coffee, I guess it is, and the rest of it is out of focus. I'm going to give it a 9.
Our next image is, I've never seen this term. It's anti-crepuscular rays. I love that.
Okay. Okay, I think it's a dramatic sky, and yet the image lacks drama. It lacks impact. I think more contrast could have been used, maybe to bring out the elements in the sky, the anti-crepuscular rays. the the picture's obviously it's an attractive image. I'm just it, it looks like many of my images many of these days. I've gone to the effort to get the picture, and it's just not quite what I need. I'm going to give that an 8.
Okay, image number 4 is, excuse me, The Battle Never Ends.
Okay, this I think is a good image with the cans in focus. The cigarette butts are mostly in focus. The ones that aren't in focus are on the fringes of the image. The image is vignetted. I like the can being in the lower third of the picture, certainly the lower half. The ice is vignetted. Let me give this a 10.
Okay, next image. Okay, this is staircase at the mansion.
Yeah, that's the Highlands Ranch mansion. My wife and I have lived here 30 years and only discovered it a few weeks ago. That's a pretty amazing place. I think that's an attractive image. I can't tell. Let's see. I guess I'm puzzled because the center of it looks vertical. The left side of it looks like it's leaning to the outside, whereas if it were, the effect of a wide angle lens, it would be leaning to the inside. So I'm not sure what the effect of that lamp. I'm not sure what's causing the lamp to lean to the outside when the bricks look like they're leaning outward also. Anyway, I love the swirl of the staircase leaning down to bring me into the picture and take me back to that stone wall behind the staircase. I like how the full height of the trees is shown in the background, yet there's not a lot of empty sky above them. I'm enjoying the colors of the lamps. I can feel the texture of the stone. The picture's in good focus. It's tack sharp. I like all the elements. I wish it had just a little more drama somehow, maybe a little more better lighting or contrast, but I think that's really minor. It's a stunning picture. 10.
Okay, our next image is Backyard Bark.
Okay, I like the image. It's got an awful lot of blue in it, which is certainly due to the shadows. I think the center of attention is I'll call it a stump on the left center of the picture. Because of the lighting, my eye is drawn to the shiny wood on the bottom right of the picture and also the top right. I think otherwise the picture looks sharp, the exposure is good. It's just it's a little bit too blue for me, and I'm disturbed by the two yellowish elements on the right which draw my attention. I'll give it a 9.
Okay, our next image is Castle Rock Sunrise.
I'm guessing this might have been a time exposure and the clouds might have moved slightly. So the clouds look blurred. The image is good. The flag and the star look sharp. And yet the rock outcrop looks slightly blurred to me too. The image certainly has a lot of impact. I think I might have eliminated some of the black foreground at the bottom of the picture. I'll give this a 9.
Our next image is Christmas Reef.
Well, I really like the image. I think the exposure does a good job of capturing the fire and the white lights on the wreath, and while of course they're blown out, it's not that the picture's blown out. So I mean that's what you'd expect from white lights in a shady picture and a fire at the bottom. I really like the effect of the whole thing. I like the leading lines of the fireplace grill take me up to the wreath. The wreath centers on the red ribbon. I think it's quite a beautiful image. That's a 10.
Our next image is Blade
Oh, I'm
Runner,
sorry, what was the score?
10.
10. Christmas wreath, 10. Our next image is Blade Runner.
Well, certainly an interesting picture. It's got impact, it's got drama, it tells a story. I think I think because of the legs coming down to the shoes, it might have made a better vertical image with the people and especially the red jacket on the left cropped out and the bright windows on the upper right cropped out. I think I would have gone for a vertical image instead, but I really like the story. I like the exposure. You've captured the shoe. The other foot is blurred, giving it motion. I'm going to give this a 9.
Next, we have Yucca.
Okay, it's a beautiful image of a yucca. I like the diagonal lines coming down from upper left to bottom right, and yet, some of the strong petals, leading from the right side into the flower in the bottom third of the picture. I think the composition is excellent. The picture looks tack sharp. The exposure is good. I'll give it a 10.
Next image is Bible Park.
Well, I like the image. I'm a little confused because the center of the picture is in the shadow and in darkness, and the edges of the picture are all bright. I think the exposure is good. I guess that's a little bit of ice on the water in the bottom left third of the picture, but the branches look sharp everywhere. There's a slight ripple in the water. So my eye is led by the leading lines of the trees on the top coming down, the trees in the reflection going up, and I think the swirls in the water going back. Everything's taking me back into the shadows where it looks like there's some ice floating on the water. So I'm a little puzzled as to why I want to look into the shadows. So I'll give that an 8.
Okay, our next image is Guardian Angel.
Guardian Angel is a good image of a statue. I love the way it's reverse vignetted on the edges. The center of the statue is in focus and comes to life. I like the lines leading down from the upper left into the center, from the upper right, the wing on the statue coming down onto the face, the vertical line above. That's all very dramatic. I wish the picture had a little bit more contrast. I'll give that a 9.
Next image is the pond in the park.
Okay, that's a beautiful image. I like the geese swimming to the right. I love the clouds in the background, which help give some interest to the sky. The image looks tack sharp. It's well exposed. My eye is drawn to the bright yellow dock or whatever that is out there in the background on the lake. I wonder if the picture hadn't been taken more to the right, so the ducks would have been on the left and swimming to the right. I think it would have been possibly a stronger image. My eyes are really led to that yellow structure in the background and away from the geese. I'll give this a 9.
And our last image in the category is Ride to Nowhere.
Okay. Well, it's certainly a strong image with a lot of impact. I like the image. I like the panoramic effect. I like that the sky is full of clouds and drama, but doesn't occupy too much of the picture. I wish for this kind of a close-up that the grill, the car was canted a little bit more to the left such that the grill would be vertical. And I think maybe a little bit more of the car on the right could have been cropped out, but it's certainly a strong image and well exposed. I'm going to give this a 9.
Okay, that's it for the F11s. We have 1, 2, 3 10s. The first one is Staircase at the Mansion.
The Staircase of the Mansion is mine, and you're right, it is at the Highlands Ranch Mansion. Leading staircase up to the mansion. Great place for.
I think we have the wrong image up.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's it.
Was that it? Your comments on Staircase?
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. Our next 10 was Christmas Reef, Lucius.
Wrong image again,
Yeah,
Butch.
yeah, that's not it there, Bob.
That's it.
This was in our family room, so it was in the neighborhood. And this was a picture I submitted last week for artificial light, and it got misplaced, or I didn't submit it, so it was the same picture. So I liked it. I very seldom use a tripod, and I use a tripod for this.
Okay, thank you. Our next, last 10 in this category is Yucca.
Yes, I took this last summer in Highlands Ranch, open space area, and used a tripod.
Who's the
and,
maker on this one?
Excuse me?
Who's the maker on this one?
It's me, Bill Rothenmeier.
Thank you.
But
I'm
I took
sorry.
it last summer with a tripod and was able to take it.
Okay, on to the F16s.
Quick question.
Yeah,
I
shoot.
think my image got a 10. And that's why I started out with this one.
Yeah, that's right. The battle never ends. If you go back to that one, Bob.
Yeah, this is one I shot on my back porch and to let everyone know I don't smoke.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault. I didn't mark that properly. My apologies.
No problem.
I'm glad you're not a smoker. All right. F16, we have 1, 2, looks like 4 black and whites. Our first one is Snowmageddon 2021.
Snowmageddon, okay. I like the title. That's amazing. It really does look like a postcard. Yeah, no, I like the image. I like the framing. I like the composition. I like the door just off center. Um, I love the snow drooping down from the top of the image. The lines of the windows take me into the door. The grill at the bottom of the door takes me up into the door. The snow drifts and the massive snow on the roof frame the picture. That's a 10.
Okay, our next image is sure-footed roofers.
Okay, well, the roofers look really great, but I can't tell if the intent is to silhouette them or not. They're certainly not silhouetted, but I can't see much detail either. I think I would have cropped out the bottom of the picture. I think the bright white Tyvek wrapping on the bottom of the picture is very distracting and takes away from the subject. I love the leading line of the safety rope going up to the one guy and leading from the bottom left to the top right. And then you can see another rope on the other guy in the middle. I really like that very much. Whoops, what happened?
I'm sorry, the score?
I didn't score it. I think because of the very distracting Tyvek signs at the bottom, I'm going to give it an 8.
Our next is ice abstract.
Well, it's certainly very dramatic. I love the tones that go from bright white to all the way to black. The whites, it seems to me I can see detail in them, or there's sufficient detail there that I don't feel they're blown out. The blacks seem to have some detail. They're not totally black, or they're not overwhelming. I like the composition. I like how the maker found this part of the ice to photograph. It certainly has a lot of impact. The composition's good. Technically, it's sharp. I'll give this a 10.
Our next impact, is our next image is snowstorm.
Well, it's certainly an interesting view of, I suppose, a porch railing with the sunlight coming through the uprights, the snow at the bottom and top overwhelming the picture. I love the leading lines of the light taking me back into the, I'll call it the middle third right corner, or the middle third of the picture. I think the dip in the snow with the footprints in it or drips in it, I guess they're drips from water on the right, is a little bit distracting. I think I might have cropped out a little bit more of the bottom of the picture. I'll give this a 9. Certainly well exposed.
Our next image is carving maintenance.
Okay. Well, the picture certainly has impact. It tells a great story. And I think the yellow leaves at the top are out of focus and brightly yellow, so they're distracting. The foreheads of all 3 birds are blown out. They're a little bit bright, as is something on the bottom right of the picture. I'm not even sure what it is, below the eagle's feet. I'm going to give this an 8.
Backyard hummingbird.
As a beautiful picture of I guess is that a rufous? Anyway, it's a good looking hummingbird. I like the way it's set off from the flower. The petals of the flower are leading out to the bird. The flower on the bottom left is leading up to the bird. I think it's a very pleasing image. The photo is pretty sharp. You'd have to be shooting at a 3200th of a second or faster to stop the wings, but you've stopped the bird itself. I think there's a lot of real estate in the upper left corner, but to get rid of that, you'd have to crop the top of the flower on the right, and that might be more disturbing. So I think technically, I think the picture is good. I think the picture has a lot of impact. I just worry about the cropping. I might have tried cropping a little bit more off the top. I'm gonna give that a 9.
Next image is Sidewalk Cafe.
Okay, the Sidewalk Cafe tells an interesting story. I'm looking for the vertical lines. I'm disturbed that the lines are converging to the top of the picture, suggesting it's taken with a wide angle lens. But even in the center of the picture, I'm not sure that the lines are vertical. So I think it's a function of maybe being slightly candid, plus the lens. I don't know if you could correct that in Lightroom with the lens correction, but anyway, it's a pleasing image. I guess the pink flowers. I think at least one of them is a rose. I'm not sure what the others are, but they're grabbing my attention. But I'm also drawn to the white tabletops. The picture is quite busy. I can't tell if those are falling leaves in the top left corner of the picture or what those are. The menu is in focus on the right-hand shutter, or maybe it's a piece of slate to the right of the window. It's just slightly out of focus. I wish it were either more blurred or more in focus. I'm gonna give this a 9.
Next image is Life in the Hood. Life is spelled L-Y-F-E.
Well, it's an interesting picture. The composition is good. I might have cropped a little on the left and right, but I like the horizontal treatment of the subject. To me, the F in life looks out of focus. The third lock, the third clasp lock hanging there looks out of focus to me. And it also looks like it's more forward in the picture and the others are farther back. So it may be just out of the depth of field. Everything else is tack sharp. So I think, that leads me to give this a 9.
Nature's Geometric Beauty.
Well, stunning ice crystals. I like the composition. I like how the crystals are composed in the picture. I like the shape of the structure of the ice. I like the exposure. I wish the top of the ice crystals were in focus. The bottom looks like it's tack sharp and the top looks like it's blurred. And I think because of the shape of the ice, I'm being led to the top of the triangle and it's out of focus. I'm gonna give that a 9.
Backyard Visitor is our next image.
Okay, beautiful fox. Um, I like the composition. I like that the head is away from the fence post and back. I wish the fence posts were vertical somehow, but maybe it's not in real life. I'm worried about the, oh, that's, what did you do, Butch? I was going to say the reds on the fox's own right side were all blurred out and they just popped into focus. The fox's tail looks like it's out of focus to me too. So the depth of field, the body of the fox is in focus, the tail's out of focus, and yet the fence is not too bad. So I'm confused by that. Maybe the fox moved its tail. That's probably what happened because the branches in back of the fox are in focus. The exposure is good. I wish there were a little more light on the fox's face. I wish we could add a little more drama to the fox's face. I'm gonna give this a 9.
Okay, our next image is après ski at the saloon.
Well, the picture certainly has a lot of drama. I like the lighting. It's tack sharp. I like the composition. I think the brightness of the skis brings my eye to them, which I suppose is really the subject. It's funny that takes me away from the upper part of the saloon building itself, which is actually reflecting in the sunlight. No, that's very nice. I'll give that a 10.
Okay, our next image is Havana Hood.
Wow. Well, that's certainly a dramatic picture. I love the busyness for the metropolitan scene. I love the bicycle and the people walking through it, bicycles coming at me. Cars are going away from me. Wires are going every which way. I think the composition is good. I'm brought down to the center of the picture where you can see the people best. I like how the right edge is in the shadows. I think the guy on the bottom left looking the other way in the t-shirt, in the white t-shirt, could have been vignetted out a little bit more or dimmed. I'm gonna give this picture a 10.
Okay, got another hood picture, Frozen in the Hood.
Okay, what a great capture. I love the icicles. Looks like the icicles themselves were undecided. I love the colors. I love the patterns. It's well exposed. I'll give that a 10.
Our next picture is Frozen Sunset.
Okay, Frozen Sunset.
Forest sunset, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Forest Sunset.
Okay, I would expect the highlight of the sun to be washed out, but it looks to me like even the illuminated pine trees beneath it are washed out. The snow is washed out. I love the composition. I love the subject. I love your capturing this moment, I presume, in the evening. But I'm worried about the technical aspects of the photo. I like the composition and the story, but I'm worried about the elements of it that are washed out. I'll give this an 8.
Our next image is Japanese beetle collection.
Well, the picture certainly has impact. The beetles are distributed evenly across the frame, so it's there's nothing in particular to draw my attention to from the overall composition. Somehow my eyes are drawn to the vertical line of beetles. It's a third of the way from the left. I really like that because otherwise I'm not sure where my eye would go. So my eye is drawn right to that vertical line, a third from the left. The exposure is good. I'll give this a 10.
Early morning dew.
Well, Butch, your computer is doing it again, I guess. So as I'm watching the picture, it's coming more and more into focus. Now it's quite sharp. No, this is a beautiful
I
image.
do that on purpose to confuse you, Tom.
Okay, thanks, Butch. Right. You try to see if I'm still awake. All right. No, I love this. I love the complementary colors. I love the shape of the flower. I love the dewdrops on the petals. I love the dewdrops falling off the edge of the flower. I love the blurred background, but it's not totally blurred out. You can still see some structure of blades of grass or other leaves or other plants in the background. I love the way the image is framed. This is quite stunning. It's a 10.
Okay, our next image is Golden Morning.
Golden Morning is a pretty image. I love the leading lines. I love how the grass on the bottom left is in the frame. It's not out of the frame. It just barely makes it, but it's not too cropped. There's enough room there. I like the overall composition. I like the emphasis on the right third of the picture. I love the exposure is good. Nothing's blown out. Everything you can feel the texture in the blades of grass as they bend over or whatever these plant stalks are. I love the transition from yellow to green. The water is good. I think the bubbles in the water add some dimension to the picture. I think if they weren't there, it would be very confusing. I'll give this a 10.
Our second to last image is Colorful, Colorful Car Wash.
Well, it's certainly an impressive abstract, I would call it, with a lot of impact. I love the leading colorful lines taking me into the center of the picture. I can't tell if that's somebody's car or just the twirling brush. Maybe these are the twirling brushes around the car. Anyway, it's a terrific picture. Can't wait to hear the story on this one. I'm going to give this well, let me finish critiquing it first. I love how it's a little bit vignetted around the edges. The center is very bright. All the leading lines take me into the center of the picture. The center of the picture itself has leading lines which take me to the center of that. The whites are pretty white, but they don't seem to be blown out. I'm going to give this a 10.
And our last image is Just Across the Street.
It's a very pleasing image of a gazebo. I love the way it's framed. I like the clouds in the sky. I love the cloud bank above the mountains on the left. The gazebo is well exposed. I love the bushes around it that frame the gazebo as opposed to the grass in the foreground. It's quite a stunning image. I'll give that a 10.
Excellent. Well, we had a number of 10s. In the F16 category, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. Okay. The first 10 was Snowmageddon, and that was Todd
Bear
Leiter.
with me,
Say again?
bear with me.
Yeah, I'm here. Todd Lytle, Snowmageddon. This was taken a week ago, Monday, obviously, in the middle of our storm. Couple things. I just shot it right out my second story window down at the main entrance, and yes, if you didn't look up when you walked out, you might have gotten clobbered or worse by that snow overhang. The thing I wanted to mention, and I've noticed it now in a few images, it was commented on in the Highlands Ranch mansion picture, and that is the angles and the tilting that we get when we shoot something at a wide angle or from a different perspective. What I wanted to say about this image is when I open, this is a new thing for me to use. When I open an image now, a raw image or a DNG image in Adobe Camera Raw, which I think a lot of us use, there is I don't know how new it is, but there's a drop down for a category called geometry. And geometry's been there for a long time. I know it's been in Lightroom for a long time. But this particular drop down in Adobe Camera Raw for geometry took an image, this image, which was highly tilted. The garage pillar on the left was not straight. The wooden shutters on the right were not straight. The door was leaning backwards. It was what you would expect, having shot an image from, across the driveway from, a very different angle. In this geometry button, there's a horizontal correction button, there's a vertical correction button, and there's one that combines both. And for me, what made this image most pleasing to me was that all of those lines, and we used to have to fiddle with this stuff forever and ever in, modify, free transform, or scale or something. I mean, it was brutal, and I never got it right. Everyone can use this geometry button, and all your lines will be straight as an arrow. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Todd.
Okay. Our next 10 was Ice Abstract. Oz, that was yours.
That's correct. Yeah, so I'll tell a little bit about the story. So after the big snow, water running down the gutter, and at night it would freeze. So this was just taken out in front of the house in the gutter in the street with a macro lens, 105mm macro, and nice contrast. And I played with it in Photoshop, and this is what I came up with. Did a little cropping and a little adjusting the contrast, eliminating a few distracting things, and that's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Oz. Our next 10 was mine, Après Ski at the Saloon. This is this is in Minturn, and it's a pretty famous place. And any saloon that has a sign over the bar that says, "If John Wayne didn't drink it, we don't make it," is my kind of place. Actually, a lot of skiers will ski out of bounds from Vail and ski there, and you can see all the skis. And then one person, and I've done it once, and I won't do it again because it is out of bounds skiing. And then their friend will come in a car and pick them up. But it was shot with a wide angle lens. I was right up next to the building, so I had to use transform in Lightroom. And then of course it clipped the corners, so I had to add some canvas in Photoshop. And I'm sorry, I added the content aware fill when I added some canvas in Photoshop. Our next 10 is Joe's Havana hood.
Joe, are you still on?
Joe?
I got it. All right, this was taken in 2018. And it was a side street in Havana. And it was what struck me about it was the chaos. You know, with the overhanging wires everywhere and the people wandering around the street, and the old cars and what have you. You know, what else can I say about it? It's essentially a snapshot, but there it is.
Pretty good snapshot.
Yeah. Well, you know, when things line up for you.
Just be glad you weren't the electrician trying to fix the wire that went out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, this wouldn't pass code anywhere in the US, the electrical arrangements.
Are you sure?
Our,
Maybe in California.
Yeah. Our next 10 is Dave Hull's. It's Frozen in the Hood.
Thanks, Butch. This was taken about a month ago down in one of my favorite areas of Denver, in Curtis Park, bordering on rhinos in the alley. I waited until there was a kind of an overcast morning, so I wouldn't get any shadows or harsh light on this, and took out a little bit of secondary art in the upper right-hand corner with some cloning. But one of my favorite neighborhoods of Denver.
Thank you, Dave. Oz, you're up next with Japanese beetle collection.
Okay. Yeah, Japanese beetles are invasive species now, and I'm trying to grow raspberries. So I collect Japanese beetles and I put them in water and a little bit of soap and I drown them. And so I showed this to somebody and they said, well, this is a murder scene. And I said, yeah, that's right. So I cropped a little bit off the sides and really boosted the contrast and especially the color saturation. The blue is from reflection off the blue sky. And don't know exactly where the yellow came from. I think that's probably from the plastic container that had the bugs. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Oz. Our next 10 is Gwen Patton's Early Morning Dew. Is Gwen here?
I think Gwen's in Hawaii.
Okay. Well, what she wrote was, judge as in the neighborhood, the neighbors flower early in the morning. The dew is natural and not added. God bless her. Okay, our next 10 is mine, Golden Morning. Nothing really special. This is a pond that is just around the corner from my home. What you see is what you get. It's tough getting early morning light where I live because I'm in a valley. And this was just one of those days. It worked out. I was in the right spot, and it probably had the good light for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, because then it starts getting brighter. And like I said, we don't get the early morning light here when you live in a valley, but I was able to get this particular shot.
What's very nice.
Oh, thank you. And Lee Ermes is next with the next 10, and it's colorful car wash. Love it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's on.
Oh, okay. Well, his comments were going through the local car wash with the brushes spinning and colorful soap. Super. God bless him. And our last 10 was just flashed up there, was just across the street is Gwen's again. Too bad no, it's not too bad she's in Hawaii. Good for her. Jeffco Open Space Park across the street from where I live. My favorite place to photograph. So Gwen had 2 10s and she happened to be in Hawaii for them. So that is the end of our images. And Tom, I really want to thank you for doing this for us.
You're welcome, Butch.
Yeah, we really enjoyed your comments. And our next month's competition, the topic is nature. You know, we do this a lot. Nature photography is a depiction of the natural world in such a fashion that a well-informed person is able to identify the subject. Nature photography focuses on landscapes, wildlife, and plant life as they are found in the natural environment. And next month's judge is Becky Witt, and she's an excellent photographer. I've never seen her judge. And that is all that I had. So Cliff, I'm turning it over to you.
We're good.
I had something I wanted to add from our
Tom,
last.
this is Oz. Just want to thank you very much. Appreciate your
You're welcome,
comment.
Oz. Glad to meet you over Zoom finally.
Right. Likewise.
Oz, Todd Lytle, I had something I wanted to add, if I could.
Sure.
The last presentation was a presentation by David on the blue skies, and don't rethinking blue sky days and all the different approaches that he had to that. I think his style for me is one of the best presenting styles that we've ever had. A comment was made towards the end that was relative to a Lightroom question. And I said, well, we already had your Lightroom presentation, but in fact, we have not. I'd had his Lightroom presentation because I subscribed to his blog and his channel and whatnot. But anyway, I just wanted to correct in case anybody thought they were crazy, they'd missed his Lightroom presentation. It's called Rethinking Lightroom. It's a 2.5-hour presentation. And I don't know if we want to do it for a regularly scheduled meeting, or if he would redo it, if we could, get 15 or 20 people to do it. I think he charged $20 for it. It might not be something everybody's interested in. It's incredibly detailed, but probably the best presentation I've ever seen him do. So just a thought about David and Jennifer Wenwick and this presentation called Rethinking Lightroom.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I thought my memory was going, and maybe it is.
Mine obviously was, because I thought we did it in Camera Club, but I'm one of his subscribers. I think he's that good. I think he's absolutely one of the best photographers and maybe one of the best instructors I've worked with. And his significant other, Jennifer, and then their other team, Sarah Marino, they all work together, and they are fantastic.
If Oz will give me the permission to go above our budget for Sarah Marino, I could book her, but her minimum is 150.
Let's talk about it then afterwards sometime and see
Okay.
see where we're at.
Okay, sounds good.
But
Thank you.
yeah, they do nice.
Thank you for
They
considering
do
it.
nice things.
All right. Well, I didn't have anything else. Thanks for hosting that, Butch, and Tom. Thanks again for judging. And I think that's a wrap for tonight. So we'll see everyone at the program meeting in April, and have a wonderful evening and weekend.
Thank you, Cliff.
Take care.
Yep,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Tom.
Thanks, Butch.